All right, let's talk about Rampage from April the 22nd, 2022, sorry. No news and notes for AEW this week on Rampage. Let's just get into it. Tomohiro Ishii was defeated by Adam Cole, of course, because Jay White pushed Rocky Romero over some steps. This match was, I don't care about Tomohiro Ishii. I don't care. People need to stop trying to shove this guy down my throat. God. Moving on. Jericho Appreciation Society was not allowed into the building. Chris Jericho talked about how over he was in Pittsburgh, how much more money he made than security, and then he's going to file a complaint against Human Resources against this guy, which was supposed to be funny. Jericho looked absolutely tossed in this segment. I don't know what the hell they've done to him, but he's looking tossed. Daniel Garcia said he's a sports entertainer, right? And though he can beat a pro wrestler like Eddie Kingston, no problem. Went in there, they had the match. Daniel Garcia versus Eddie Kingston. The match was solid. Daniel Garcia was wearing a Kangol hat for reasons unknown. Like, what does that add to his character? What does it add to his persona? I don't know. Like, I noticed the little things about the Jericho Appreciation Society that I don't think that they've done before. For instance, their logo is the JAS. It's the shield and everything. So they're doing the WWE. Everything is just initials. Like when Daniel Garcia and his Tron was just like DG. So I see that. Like they're still playing it very cute. Like they're just doing everything with initials. That's what WWE does. It's super fucking lazy. It's super lazy. I can go on and on about how WWE's graphic design has been absolutely trash. Like they've gutted so many different departments, and you know, now they're just so fucking lazy that all the logos are just literally they're the initials in different ways and different fonts and shit. Like it's awful. And it seems like somebody noticed that. And so the Jericho Appreciation Society is actually doing it. I'll give them credit for that. That's pretty slick. Cause I don't think a lot of people haven't noticed it, you know? But now they're doing it. Eddie Kingston won the match with a spinning back fist. I don't know, you know, the bacon slap of doom. Eddie Kingston's like a cab driver. Anyway, Eddie Kingston tells Daniel Garcia to look into the camera and threatened to whip him with a belt. Then he says he's going to save that whipping for Jericho. All right. So him and Jericho are not finished, clearly. Daniel Garcia got to put in some time. He was mostly the aggressor in this match. And he kind of, I don't want to say led the match, but he, as the heel, he pretty much was given a large chunk of it. It was okay. I just wasn't that excited about it because I knew how it was going to end. But it was still more exciting than Lance Archer versus Serpentico. So I don't know how Serpentico is still on this roster. Lance Archer, I don't even understand why I've been anti-Lance Archer since before he was even signed to AEW. He's not one of these guys that AEW turned me against. He's one of these guys at AEW that when they signed him, I laughed out loud and said how stupid this was. Lance Archer has pink hair and a tramp stamp. Am I talking about a WWE diva, a hood rat, or a giant monster male pro wrestler? You tell me. You have multicolored hair and a tramp stamp. You tell me. Who am I talking about? A WWE diva, a murder hawk monster, or some female rapper? Come on, for fuck's sake. This dude is a fucking goof, and it's been this way for a long time. Lance Archer is the shits. He is the shits. And I've been saying that for a while. I've been pretty consistent with that. That doesn't seem to change. He's the shits. Danhausen was spilling potato chips all over the place. I don't even understand what the fuck is going on anymore. I don't understand what's going on anymore. Like, he's spilling potato chips all over the floor, and Hook grabbed him by the chest, by the shirt and whatever, and says that you wanted my attention, you got it now. Everybody flipped out because they thought this was Hook's first words on TV. I even thought so until somebody posted a clip of him talking before, and it was basically just a short little response to something Taz was saying. It wasn't like a full promo or anything. there was so many homoerotic, and look, their audience is 90% male or some shit. There's so many homoerotic comments about Hook's voice that it was so off-putting. I was just kind of like, these people cannot be real. Like, it cannot be real. It seems like, yeah, some of it might have been a joke, but the way the cultists feel the need to overreact to everything makes me incredibly uncomfortable. It's so weird, man. Like, when Dexter Lumis talked for the first time on NXT, everybody popped because it was funny, you know? This was a very serious threat to Danhausen, who was a goofy character playing in potato chips. Even if we say, okay, this was his first comments on TV, even if you want to accept that, I don't really care, to break immersion and say, oh, these, whatever. You don't need to respond by basically your bussy getting wet and talking about how, you know, Hook makes you 99% less homosexual or heterosexual or whatever. Like, that kind of stuff is just so bizarre. And it's what makes AEW such a pleb filter. Like, the average person sees that kind of shit and it's kind of like, oh, wow, I don't want to fellowship with those kinds of people. You know, like, everything is about fellowshipping. You know, it's almost like church. You know, like, you want to go to church. You don't want to go to church with the weirdos. You know, even if you believe in the same God, you don't want to go to church with the weirdos. You don't want to be in there with the fish head guys. You know, you don't want to be the guys that are, you know, that look weird and it's embarrassing to be with them in public. That's kind of how the AEW fan base comes across from time to time. Not all the time, but from time to time. They come across as being sort of the really, really weird, obsessively odd fans of wrestling. And it's not good. It's not a good look, man. It's not a good look. Anyway, I don't know when this match is supposed to happen, nor do I care. Tony Nese has a promo, and they did a vignette for him, which is great. And if it would have been what he debuted 3 months ago, if it had been 3 months ago, that would be great. But no, nobody cares about Tony Nese now. He's been on the roster forever. Nobody cares about this fucking guy. So this brings us to Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland. My, oh my, oh my. Keith Lee. Keithophiles. What on earth is this guy? They had a match with Powerhouse Hobbs and Ricky Starks, in which they lost because Taz did stuff. So Keith Lee says that, Taz, you have tarnished the battle that me and your followers were having. We were in constant fisticuffs struggle mightily against man on man and battle of sweat and blood. And then you made an appearance, Mr. Taz, and you interrupted and you distracted me, and I was defeated by one Powerhouse Hobbs, and it was very distressing. I want to annihilate you and everything that you stand for. And then Isaiah Swerve Scott cut in. I'm sorry, Swerve Strickland. Fuck. He cut in and says that they're going to get that payback, and they'll get some payback in blood. It was very believable until Ricky Starks called them a broke ass Keenan and Kale. And I melted into the floor laughing my ass off. And I didn't hear nothing else he said after that. I'm not even going to hold you up. After he called them a broke ass Keenan and Kale, I was done. All right. I was like, all right, I had enough wrestling for the evening. You know, like, shit. I needed a bottle of water. I was like, oh shit. How dare Mr. Starks consider me to be resemblance to Kenan Thompson, the most unfunny man in the history of the business. He is so unfunny. He is painfully unfunny. He is about as funny as stomach cancer. I cannot believe he said this. Mr. Strickland, do you believe this? this man, this Mr. Starks, he believes that I am Kenan Thompson and you're Kel, no one remembers Kel's last name, but you're the funny one of the group. I believe I have a sense of humor. Have you ever heard me laugh? I laugh with my whole belly. I laugh like a bear. Holy shit. Oh my God. This show made me so tired. This and SmackDown made me so fucking tired. Like, I think my eyes are red and itchy. I think I got hay fever or something like that. Toni Storm, Jamie Hayter, and Britt Baker, they were all standing backstage staring at each other. Toni Storm talked her first words, and they were not good. She questioned if Jamie Hayter had ever even seen her before and was familiar with her, and said she's going to see her in the first round. And then she looked at Britt Baker and said she's going to see her if she gets that far. And I was like, oh no. Oh no, 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 no. What's going on here? What's going on? This is not good. This ain't good. Look, man. I don't know how many times can I say that AEW is fucking up? I can say it as many times as I want to. It ain't gonna change. But having Toni Storm cut promos in this way makes no sense. Unless this match is about to happen sometime soon, just wait. Just wait. She should be introducing herself. That's the one thing WWE never really got around to, is really telling us who Toni Storm is. We got to see her. We never really got to connect with her or know her. The only thing we got was Wild Child of the 80s. That was some bullshit. Try to erase that by giving us who Toni Storm really is. This was your chance to do vignettes. Your chance to do sit-down interviews. Like, you do sit-down interviews. Like, what is Jim Ross there for? Have him do a sit-down interview with Toni Storm. You know? You can even tease an expose, like Toni Storm is going to break her silence about leaving WWE. And if anything, I would have done that. That's something I would have done. I'd have been like, well, nobody's talked about, why she left WWE. And before they had even got an opportunity to do it on a podcast somewhere, I'd have said, Jim Ross is going to have a sit down with Toni Storm, AEW's newest signee, and she's going to discuss for the first time in public why she left WWE. And it could have still been the same boring shit that she said before about how it was real cool, but at the end it wasn't real cool. Whatever. And how she was burned out and she wanted to go home. And had out-of-body experience and all that shit. But she would have had a TV audience of people who knew she was on SmackDown, who would have been like, damn, where did she go? And tuned in to see it. And got to know her a little bit about what drives her and what motivates her and what made her want to leave that environment and come to this environment. And then put the people on notice. WWE didn't want to talk about my experience in Japan, even if it's kayfabe, and who cares? Even though they did, they talked about it extensively in NXT and NXT UK and whatever else, and on SmackDown. Even if they wanted to try to put that out there, WWE didn't really want to capitalize on stuff that I did in the past, and my past is very important to me, yada yada yada. It still would have informed us of who she was and who she is. AEW's biggest fucking problem since night number 1 has been assuming that everybody knows everybody that is on this show. That has been the number 1 problem with this program. You just bring people on the fucking show and expect everybody to know who this person is. You're expecting a big pop. You're expecting a hero's welcome. You're expecting for Tony to get blowjobs on Twitter. And instead people are just like, who? Or they get caught with another former SmackDown guy. Another former NXT person that you fired and brought in. You don't give us an opportunity to fucking get to know these people, to enter, I know your audience is knowledgeable, but do stuff that your audience wasn't expecting. There's a reason why they keep doing Batman's origin over and over and over again in these movies. It doesn't give a fuck if they did it. Oh, go watch Batman 89 if you want to know his origin story. Like, no, do it again. Because there's a new generation of people who want to see this, who want to know about this. Spider-Man origin, do it again. Gotta treat every time like somebody's first time. That's the one thing WWE does much better than anybody, is they usually have a good plan for introducing people. They will introduce a motherfucker before he even come on TV. AEW want everything to be a fucking surprise. And then surprise, they're not fucking over. Nobody knows who the fuck they are. After 2 weeks, they're kind of like, everybody who's going to pop has popped already. And then that's it. Now what you going to do? Have matches. And then, okay, well, whatever. This Tony Storm thing has really frustrated the fuck out of me, if you can't tell. Because this one is a slam dunk. Just like it should have been a slam dunk for WWE. All they had to do was let people see the girl. She's hot. The American public would get on that just off looks alone. They would just be looking at her like, damn, she fine. If she can even walk with one foot in front of the other, she can get over. All right? Give her a little bit of something to say. We got something here. AEW is a completely different ball game. She's going to get in there and get to wrestle for 15, 20-minute matches or whatever, even if they're on dark, and nobody's going to give a shit. They're going to look at her. She's kind of cute, but she's doing this wrestling shit. I'm not interested in that. And then they're going to go do something else. You know, like, gotta want more for yourself. Anyway, FTR will be wrestling each other in the Owen Hart tournament. This frustrated me when I heard it on Wednesday, but I didn't talk about it because I got distracted by other things. So I could talk about it here. Now, they have been saying that this is their idea. Cash Wheeler versus Dax Harwood. And it's going to be a match that they wanted to do, that they offered to do, because they want to pay tribute to Owen Hart. And they figured this is the best way to do it, is they can have a great wrestling match against each other. They always wanted to work against one another. And they wanted to do it in a way that it would be meaningful without breaking up the team. And I said to myself, Ricky Morton would never wrestle Robert Gibson. Hawk would never wrestle Animal. You know, this would never happen. Even if it was your idea. Because at first I was like, how did they let Tony Khan talk them into this shit? And then I hear, oh, it's their idea. And I was like, why did they talk Tony Khan into this shit? I know you can have a friendly, respectful match. You can. Between tag team partners. But why would you? Why would you do that? I mean, to say we're going to do it in honor of Owen Hart, okay, I guess. I still don't like it, though. I still don't like it because tag team partners fighting each other, we've seen too much of that shit. Especially as a WWE fan base, man, we see that shit a lot. We see people in tag teams fighting each other all the fucking time. It makes no sense. And it's like, why create that? You're supposed to leave that who's better mentality unanswered. Now we're going to see who's the better man between the two. Right? So once we see who's the better man between the two, doesn't that absolutely make him the alpha of the team? So that means the other one is the beta. And how is that going to become a partnership? Like, it's one thing for it to be sort of implied through, you know, actions and motivations and which person does the bulk of the work or whatever. You get to see who the alpha is in that team. There's going to be an alpha. But to physically sublimate one of them to the other one, it doesn't seem like it works for me. You know? But I'm pretty sure it'll be a great match because these two guys are very good. They're not going to go hard on each other. They said, oh, it's going to be a stiff match and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, well, how? You're not going to be in there to injure your partner because he's your partner. So how stiff is it going to be really? You know? I don't know, man. I just don't like this idea. I don't like the idea of tag team partners wrestling each other. I've never been a big fan of that. At least not without a really, really, really good reason. To me, you could have had an Owen Hart tribute match that could have been something else, not this. You could have had one of them wrestle somebody, the other one wrestle somebody different. I'm sorry. Them wrestling against each other, I'm not really a big fan of that. Jade Cargill versus Marina Shafir. Oh, what a laughing stock this match was. This match, laughing stock. Jade Cargill did not even care about Marina Shafir. The Sterling talked about how Jade Cargill is the hardest working wrestler and he takes every match super seriously. And she's got a plan to stop the MMA stylings of Marina Shafir. And Marina Shafir, problem don't care about your plans. I'm pretty sure everybody was like, problem? You just talking to yourself in the metaverse? You know, like, You calling yourself by your nickname? I mean, are you The Rock? Oh, God. And Jade Cargill says that she's the real problem around here. I'm like, all of this is the problem. Tony Khan is the problem. All right? White Claw and Coke is the problem. You start smoking on fucking funny cigarettes. That's the problem. Anyway, they went out there and had a match, if you would want to even call it that. I legit paid it no attention. Marina Shafir got put through a table. And I was like, okay, was that necessary? No. Imagine being in the building. This was the last match of the show, wasn't it? Because Rampage is the last thing taped, right? So, this was the go home for everything. And Jade Cargill just wins with her finish. She wins with Jaded, and that's it. And she made it look easy because she was barely sweating. So they didn't even tell an appropriate story after all this time of, Jade is going to be against this opponent that even Mark Sterling is concerned about because she's an MMA fighter and that can be very tough. She can be very skilled, highly skilled. And instead, she loses just like everybody else. And Jade Cargill is still unfazed. Look, I get it. You want to put Jade over strong. That's important. But you could have showed her range in this feud. I'm always looking for storytelling elements we could have done. Like, Jade Cargill isn't a monster heel. She's a tough talker, but she's mostly a voice. You could have made her look a little bit like a paper champion, a little bit. Like the baddie squad throwing popcorn was cool and all, but I was looking for a little bit more of Jade doing stuff. Like, that was great storytelling from the baddie section, because now we know, okay, they're basically the mean girls. They're gonna be throwing popcorn and pouring Pepsi all over people and shit like that. That's fine, but we could have done a little of Marina Shafir does a judo throw, and then Jade sells it with her face like, holy shit, like, okay, and then kind of scrambles to the ropes like, nope, nah, fuck that. She gets put in a leg lock and, she oversells it and starts squealing and grab the ropes, get out of there. There's so many different things she could have done. And yes, the Jade Cargill character is different from the Stephanie McMahon character, which is what I'm thinking of when I talk about how she could have worked this character, during this storyline. Yes, it's a different character. It's a lot more confident, a lot more physically capable. But when you treat all of your opponents the exact same, then everybody's going to eventually just lose interest. You have to be able to sell your opponent, sell their size, sell their skill set, their speed, their striking ability, whatever it is that is their strength. You should be selling that strength. Marina Shafir's strength was in her MMA background. That definitely should have been the selling point. It should have been, Jade Cargill is a phenomenal athlete, but she's not a MMA fighter. So that should have been a weakness of hers. She's tall. And so, her legs are a weakness. There's so many different stories you could have told. And I think they kind of toyed with the whole legs thing here. But, they're not interested in, this is the second year of Jade Cargill. It's not like her first year, right? This is her second year. And we could have put weaknesses on her by now. We can inject some weaknesses into her game to make her more compelling as a character. So when she does, and to make her look beatable, to be quite honest, beatability is very important in an opponent. Because part of what you see and part of what becomes a problem in the long term is when somebody is not beatable, then when they do get beat, it's kind of like anticlimactic. Like, what? That's it? This is all you had to do? Like when Goldberg lost. Like, people had done all kind of shit to Goldberg. And then he finally loses and people were kind of like, a taser? That's it? Like, a taser? Tasers fucking suck, by the way. But, certain people had that mentality like, well, I would have thought you had hit him in the head with an anvil or something like that. Hit him in the head with a sledgehammer or something to that effect. But, whatever. Rampage does what it does. Let me know what you guys think. Like, share, and subscribe. Talk to you guys later.
Old non-aggression. Once that lesson sets in, you'll see a session, but you got an affection for no progression, regression.